Yes, I think I'm the only one who's talking. Jim, are you talking? That's Jim.
I have something, I'm not sure.
Unless the boys want to talk.
Okay.
But yeah,
Hi, Cynthia.
let's build it in a fight.
So Jim go first and then you, Mindy?
That's fine.
Okay. Are we doing pallbearers?
We didn't know if you were gonna have enough
think we're
people.
gonna have enough.
We have
people.
three, four.
Four.
I certainly think
Five.
10.
We need 6.
Yeah.
We can make
3 on each side.
I can help.
Okay.
And the cemetery men will come in, so once they come, Carol called them, so once they come over, we'll get go. So we got, like you said, time.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable couple of months. I can't see with them down. And they get all plugged up.
I know you can't tell anybody who's. This is gonna be REA under this mask. Yeah, you guys, the last time you saw them was a very long time ago. You guys are really little. It was Thanksgiving in a basement in Baltimore.
Probably 2011.
It was a while ago.
Then 2012, I
It's
remember.
been crazy but in the house. Pandemic.
Oh, thank you. Oh, did you get Christmas?
Thank you.
Did you get
We're-
Christmas?
No, I got sick in my
And Ira's streaming.
Oh.
So much.
He is a tech guru. He's a lot at Shaw.
All right.
I miss our corn stills, by the way. Yeah. I have some tea. I have
All I got to New Val and
New Val.
a New Val,
That's a
I mean,
good
I'm
deal.
not gonna
so said everything went well.
How long been Haskins? So, what?
Only a couple days from this, but
Same thing,
some of
I'm
the
not-
first I've been in and out of the hospital.
You want me to set up a-
So.
She's got the
And
weight
when I
thing
think
covers
that, I
her.
realized the
her
signs
head.
were there.
Is it time on?
Very low. I don't know, I mean, yeah, I was.
You got married?
Oh, you were
19? Yes, I got married.
Well, I met him when I was 19, so we were together.
Yeah.
And we got married. I got what you wrote behind me.
Can you believe this? I mean, it's Laurie. We were in Dots together. We did My Square Lady. I mean, that's a long history for us.
That's my mom's sister-in-law, my dad's
That's a
brother.
long history for us too.
Standing up. I know, we got married, I think, earlier this year.
Mhm.
Is your brother coming?
Not from Baltimore.
Not from Baltimore.
Yeah, so we got everyone.
It was really
Everyone's
bad at Meister's town, I tell you.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I told David not to.
You know,
Around, because you know, kind of
He's like,
nice
we're gonna get
down
heated.
up and all dancing with this fire. Like they all said it was never, we wanted to bring it up. Huh? No, I didn't.
there you go. You're right. They said it would never work.
They say you were right about, like, I
They
could have.
said it would never work.
This.
That's why I kept it in my
Yeah,
bag.
that's already wet.
The boy you babysat, who set this all up, was on Zoom Minions. So,
Aww.
He is such a good kid.
Cool.
Joe, leave the story.
So when his grandmother died last year,
Yeah,
I went over to the house
yeah.
and they insisted I stay for dinner. So we're finishing up dinner and then people are starting to come in
Right.
and I catch somebody out of the corner of my eye and
Yeah.
That
it was
looks
Joel.
like somebody very important, and it was Sonia Sotomayor.
Oh,
I said,
oh,
you go to
my.
pay a civil call and you meet a Supreme Court justice.
Whoa. Ah,
I could not believe it. She comes in, she takes my arm and she says, what's your name and how are you, how do you fit in all this? And Joel says, she used to babysit us.
People say that a lot about the Sandler and Love family. How do you fit in?
right. And that's a lot of connections to keep straight.
Oh, I tell you. This is-
Oh, David is here. So
I
we
thought
do
you
have-
weren't coming.
So we do have enough then? Okay. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if the boys are gonna.
Yes.
Okay, so we got it, we got 6.
6 pallbearers. Okay, great. As soon as the cemetery workers get to the
You
location.
see,
Okay.
yeah, one of them coming up the hill now.
Oh, my
It's fun sitting in chairs that are sinking into the.
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, we'll leave it to Daddy. His timing was not always perfect.
This is just Daddy's way of saying, I don't want
He
a big
doesn't want
deal
anyone
made out
here.
of
No,
me.
I actually, yep.
Right.
He's bringing his amplifier.
Doing the exchange of data.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And tomorrow will be in Helen's 88th birthday.
I was
Yeah.
thinking
Oh,
about
really?
that.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Also.
What is it with Uncle Jerry and Daddy wanting to be buried in winter? I mean, couldn't they have timed it
But
better?
do you remember all of the people
To be
that
buried in winter.
passed away in December?
Huh?
God, it was.
Everyone passed away in December.
Yeah, and Sarah and Aunt Mary
And Rebecca.
and Rebecca.
Well, they're together elsewhere.
Huh?
They're together elsewhere.
Who?
Uncle Jerry and
Oh, yeah, yeah, it does.
Cracking jokes.
Pallbearers, let's gather behind the
They're in a very bad joke.
Hold on.
They're both speaking Scottish accents, you know.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
it.
Very, very bad joke.
Okay, all bearers, come on.
But the one thing is, Uncle Jerry was the only one that ever called me dad.
We're gonna put down right away.
Joe Laps used to call me dad, and Uncle Jerry used to call me dad.
I'm a big fan. Small world.
Oh.
Okay, folks, come on. Close here. Feel free to get inside.
If you want to, why not?
Right.
I don't know if it's. Said it's really much.
Walk right.
Never would have expected
My hands
that.
are full now.
And once we get to the sites, that's very helpful.
Did they get to see us?
לא תיראני פחד לילה מחית יעוף ימה, ידבר באופל יהלוך מכתב ישרות צהריים. יפול מצידך אלף ומבני מנך אליך לא ייגש, רק בעיניך תביט בשילומת רשעים תראה, כי אתה אדוני מחסי עליון שמת מעונך, לא תאונה אליך רעה בידיו ולקרב כי מלאכה תצווה לך לשמרך בכל דרכיך, על כפיים יישאונך פן תיגוף באבן רגליך, על שחל ופתן תדרוך תמוס כפיר ותנין, הביא חשק ואפלתהו אסגבהו כי ידע שמי. יקראני ועיניהו עמו אנוכי בצרה אחלצהו ואכלתהו, אורך ימים אשביעהו ויראהו בישועתי. אורך ימים אשביעהו ויראהו בישועתי. Al Mikomo Yavo Shalom. May stand, go unto God in peace. Hatzur Tamim B'chol, Hatzur Tamim Pa'alo Kipol Drachav Mishpat, El Emunah Ve'en Avel Tzadik Yasharhu. Hatzur Tamim B'chol Po'al Mi'omar Lo Matipal, Hashalit B'mata V'ma'al Me'mit Mechayem Orid Sha'ol V'ya'al. Hatzur Tamim B'chol Mataseh Mi'omar Lo Mataseh, Ha'omer V'yosef Chesed Pinam Manu Ta'aseh V'zchut Anekad Keseh Hakshiva V'aseh. Tzadik b'chol derachav hatzur tamim erchapaynu malei rachamim. Chamolna v'chusna alavot avanim kelacha adon ha'slichot v'harachamim. Tzadik ata Adonai lahamit lahachayot asher b'yadcha tikdon kol rukot. Halila lacha zichronenu limpot. Yuna enecha berachamim aleinu techukot. Kelacha adon harachamim v'haslichot. Adam im ben shana yihya or elef shanim yihya ma yitron lo kolo haya yihya baruch dayan emet rimit mechayeh. Baruch hu ki emet dino meshotet hakol beino u'meshalem la'adam cheshbono v'dino hakol ishmo kodaya yiteni. Yadanu Adonai ki tzedek mishpatecha titzak v'dovrecha v'titzke b'shoftecha ve'en laharer achar midat shoftecha tzadik ata Adonai v'yashar mishpatecha. Dayan emet shofet tzedek ve'emet, Baruch dayan emet shekol mishpatav tzedek ve'emet, nefesh kol chai biyadecha tzedek malal yeminecha, rachem al pleitat son yadecha v'tamar lamalach heref yadecha. Gedol ha'itza v'rav ha'liliyah asher enecha pekufot al kol darchei b'nei adam, v'ateit le'ishki drachav v'chifri ma'lalav l'agit yashar Adonai tzari v'lo v'latavot. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mavarach, Vahu Rachum Yechaper Avo V'lo Yashlit, V'hirbala Hashiva Po V'lo Ya'ir Kol Chamato. The rock, his work is perfect and all his ways are just. The faithful God never falls, true and upright is he. The rock is perfect in every way. Who can question him about his deeds? The Lord has given and the Lord has taken. Praise be the name of the Lord. When we have a graveside service as we do today, the tradition is to take care of Stan first completely. Out of respect for him, we escorted him to his final resting place. We will shovel earth into the grave to show that just as he took care of us in life, so too we take care of him in death. We will use the backside of the shovel for the first shovelful to show, just as when we walked, we stopped 3 times to show that this walk is not a regular walk. So too the shoveling is not a regular shoveling. We use the backside of the shovel for the first shovelful of earth that we put in. Then we can turn the shovel around. There's a shovel on either side of the pile there, so we can be on either side of the grave. Mom, up to this?
I'm gonna do one first.
Are you gonna? Okay.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'm gonna do one.
Okay. So we can line up on either side of the pile. There, the shovels are there already. The flatter ones are a little bit better for me. Now you can turn it around. Turn it around. Okay.
That's the bottom and go here.
Got it.
And this one's for me.
Yeah. Almost done. If you want to come on this side, come on this side. There's just this, mainly this side. Your corner right there. One more.
you're done, Ray. David, right here. Right there? Yeah, not that, and then I'll go right on this side. And we're good. They have to come and put that. That's good. They have to come and put the top on. So it's covered.
V'yashav ha'afar al haaretz k'shehaya, v'haruach tashuv el ha'elohim asher natana. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. May Stan Smith's soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal. Send comfort, O Lord, to those who mourn. Grant strength to those whose burden is sorrow. Amen. In the words of Ecclesiastes, a season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying, a time for speaking and a time for silence, a time for seeking and a time for losing. The time of mourning is a complicated time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. We begin our service with the recitation of psalms and prayers, thus linking Stan's life with the 3,000-year-old tradition of the people Israel and the eternity of God. Psalm 15. Mizmor LaDavid, Adonai mi yagur ba'ohalecha, mi yishkon bahar kodshecha, halech tamim ufoel tzedek v'dover emet bilvavo. Lo ragal al eshono, lo asa l'rehu ra'a v'cherpa lo nasa al krovo. Nivzeh be'inav nimas ve'et yirei Adonai yechabed, nishba lahara v'lo yamir. Kaspo lo natan b'neshech v'shochad al nakilo lakach, oseh ele lo yimot l'olam. Do we deserve to enter God's sanctuary? Can we merit a place in the presence of God? Live with integrity, do what is right, speak the truth without deceit. Have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others, do not mistreat your neighbor. Spurn a contemptible person, but honor those who revere the Lord. Never retract the promise once made, though it may bring you harm. Lend no money at unfair rates, accept no bribe against the innocent. Make these deeds your own, then shall you stand firm forever. From Psalm 103, Kerachem av al banim richam Adonai al yereav, ki hu yadai yitzreinu zachur ki afar anachnu, enosh kechatzir yamav ketzitza sadeh ken yatzitz, ki ruach avrabo ve'enenu velo yakiranu od mekomo, v'chesed Adonai me'olam v'ad olam al yereav, as a father has compassion for his children, God has compassion for those who show reverence. God knows that we are fashioned. God remembers that we are dust. The days of mortals are like grass. We flourish as the flowers of the field. A wind passes over them and they are no more, and no one can recognize where they grew. But God's compassion is everlasting. God's kindness to children's children, to all the reverent ones, endures age after age, unchanging. A couple people in the family will be sharing words of eulogy, and we begin with Stan's son-in-law, Jim.
Stan H. Smith was my father-in-law, and he was a good guy. He was a great guy. He had a huge heart. Way bigger than, and he cared so deeply. His wife or his daughters were hurting. He was very creative. He was very humble. He was very tolerant. He was very trusting. And how many people in our world exhibit these qualities? He endured a lot of tough times growing up, and he never turned jaded. He never turned mean, and he never turned on another human being. He was very giving of his time to his immediate family and his extended family and the community of Medal of Honor recipients. Stan's communications to and actions with these military heroes extended far and wide, and without question, he touched more hearts than he could ever know. And Stan knew me for about a third of his life, but I'm the lucky one because I got to know him for over half my life. And as such, there are only two other father figures that I'm no longer, those being my own father and my maternal grandfather. And in many ways, Stan and my maternal grandfather were a lot alike. And trust me, it's good you're sitting, Barbara. Trust me, there's a few stories that my grandfather has told me and some other men in the family that we kept from mom and her siblings. And Lori, Mindy, and Stacy, there are a few stories from your dad that only he and I, they're all good. They're all good. I thank God for Stan and for his time on earth. I thank Stan for his presence in my life. And most of all, I thank Stan for being a loving husband, Barbara, the loving father of 3 wonderful daughters, one of whom I'm blessed to spend my life with. Lived a good life, Stan. You ran a good race. May your spirit and your energy flow throughout the universe now. And may we all remember how blessed we are to have had you in our lives. God bless you, Stan H. Smith. God bless you.
Thank you, Jim. His daughter, Mindy.
All right, can you guys hear me with the mask? Okay. I've never given a eulogy before. And certainly a snow day during a pandemic is not what I had in mind, but Daddy's taken his antisocialness to a whole new level. But all right, I'm speaking on behalf of my sisters, Laurie and Stacy, and on behalf of my mom this morning. Over the past few days, my sisters and I have been sharing Dad's stories, many of which revolved around his unique sense of humor. Thus, these stories are not G-rated or even PG-rated in most cases, and not suitable to be mentioned at a cemetery. I will share some of the more PC stories, things you may not have known about Dad, to include his softer side. It was always an adventure going anywhere with Dad. We would walk into a restaurant with Daddy, who had brought his own root beer and pickles with him, and he would introduce himself as Angus MacLeod from Brigadoon in an attempted Scottish accent. He would tell people he got us at the Pound, and if anyone's ever seen Laurie or Stacy, you know, there's no merit to those baseless claims. Daddy wanted and got all girls, something he may have regretted when we became teenagers. He drove Bernie Van, Mom's doctor, Meshuggah when Mom was pregnant with Laurie, because there wasn't any way to know if she would be a girl. Mom was fairly certain that Bernie was almost ready to sedate Daddy. Back at home, you better watch out when the phone rang. When telemarketers or prank callers would call, Daddy would answer the phone in a gruff voice. "This is a secure military line. Please state your name, rank, and serial number." Or he'd answer, "Montgomery County Police." I'm sure this violated more than one law or statute, but it effectively resolved the issue. At home, we had and still have the best scissors and tweezers available. Since Daddy sold surgical instruments, we have personally engraved scissors, which actually cut, and sharp tweezers. So about grooming. Daddy's eyebrows rivaled Michael Dukakis's, and I offered to trim them many years ago. Thankfully, I never aspired to be a beautician because clearly that was not my forte. Daddy felt like I nared his eyebrows away, which I didn't, but my handiwork was not appreciated, something which Daddy loudly and repeatedly would not allow me to forget. Pretty sure, hold on, even Frenchie from Greece would have done a better job than I. Even recently, we'd ask Daddy if I could trim his eyebrows and he would shout, "No." In addition to the best scissors and tweezers, we had the most comfortable PJs, which also doubled as Halloween costumes. Daddy would get scrubs from NIH. He used to give them out as gifts for people. I was once successful at playing a joke on Daddy, and fortunately, he never got me back for it. Sometimes in the summer, we'd get ants in the bathroom. I found clear ant stickers at the store. I carefully placed them around Mom and Dad's bathroom. Once I was satisfied with the sticker placement, I shrieked, "They're everywhere, they're everywhere." Daddy came running in, saw the ants, and picked up a tissue box in an attempt to smush them. I have zero poker face, so I busted out laughing. Daddy loved watching Whose Line Is It Anyway, and his favorite game was Questions Only. Somehow, even when he started having memory issues, he still managed to beat us at that game often. Growing up, our house was fun. Daddy held ping pong tournaments in the basement, hosted people for boxing matches here and there, probably when Sugar Ray was boxing. We also, of course, had Washington football team parties. Daddy converted a room of the house into a theater with heavy curtains, which blocked out the light, a huge projection TV, and lots of seating. I have fond, albeit loud memories involving family and friends and lots of food for these events. Daddy didn't just engage people for sporting events. I remember going to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial with him. He had printed out comforting poems on nice paper to hand out to the vets down there. One of those poems Daddy had written. It was called So That Others Might Live. Daddy also wrote an adorable short story long before he met Mom about Irving the leprechaun. Daddy took Zadie's poems and printed them out on nice paper and put them in a binder for all his girls, Mom included. We have fond memories of him taking us to Cabin John Park for a train ride or to the pool down the street. I'm not sure how many people know how handy he was. Daddy had a workshop addition attached to the garage. When we got our first dog, Kugel, Daddy built her a dog bed. I don't remember pet stores existing at that point in time, let alone Amazon Prime. He also built us chests, which he lined and filled with silver dollars he had collected over the years. Our second family dog was Heidi, and Daddy used to howl and she would sing with him. Daddy liked food a lot. Homemade apple pie, lemon meringue pie, pecan pie, really any sweets. He always seemed to be the first in line at the dessert buffet for family gatherings in the midst of all the kids, which makes sense because he was a big kid. Bubby had given him the biggest bowl of matzo ball soup. It had to be hot, but then he put ice in it because it was too hot. And Daddy, for you, at least it wasn't too sweet. And if Joel Miller's watching, he's laughing right now. He loved it when Laurie would send him food during the pandemic since we couldn't visit. He didn't just eat food. He used to help Mom make the kugel each year. It was Bubby's kugel recipe. Given the snowy forecast, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the blizzard. When I was really little, there was a blizzard. Daddy fed the squirrels normally through the sliding glass door out back, but during the blizzard, he had to feed them from the upstairs bathroom window. When he finished shoveling the driveway, there was a tall wall of snow. Daddy put me up there and told me he'd come back to get me tomorrow. In closing, my sisters and I would sing a modified version of We Love You, Conrad, from Bye Bye Birdie to Daddy. We would sing We Love You, Daddy to him. We love you, Daddy. We always have and we always will.
Thank you, Mindy. Before we continue, we have a flag to present to Barbara.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, that would mean the world to us. That would mean the world.
So thank you, Jim and Mindy. We express our condolences to Stan's wife, Barbara, to his children, Laurie and Jim, Mindy, Stacy and Vince, to his grandchildren, Anders and Eric, to his nieces and nephews, extended family and friends. It was challenging for the family to witness Stan's steady decline these past several years, but it was a blessing that family was with him to the end. As we reflect upon Stan's 82 years of life and nearly 54 years of marriage, we realize Barbara and his 3 girls were the center of his life. He worked and lived for them. He loved them intensely, and they all knew that he would do anything for them. From buying hard-to-get Springsteen concert tickets to being with a sick daughter in college, or just simply showing up unannounced to visit, Stan loved being there and doing for his family. Stan and Barbara met on a blind date. Barbara regularly babysat someone, Joel Friedman, whose aunt asked whose aunt asked Barbara if she would like to meet someone. That woman's husband's best friend was Stan. They went out, and as Barbara said, the rest was history. Stan decided to propose in a way that only he would do. He placed the engagement ring in Barbara's ice cream. As she ate her dessert, she nearly choked on the ring. That set the stage for the kind of fun and unpredictability the next 54 years of marriage would be. Stan also had great friends. He had a wonderful sense of humor, and he also loved a good practical joke. But really, it seemed like he liked the revenge of planning to get someone back if he himself was the butt of a joke. It was all, of course, in good fun, but ask anyone about his elaborate joke after his pants were pulled down while playing racquetball, and you'll know what kind of schemer Stan was. All the girls said that their friends described Stan as Robin Williams. Lots of fun to be around, a joke a minute, and someone who would make you laugh and forget your problems. He also had a deeper side to him. Stan was a veteran and then in the National Guard, and as such was a true patriot. He developed a strong sense of patriotism and was inspired by the service of all the recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. These service members received that highest honor in recognition of acts that went above and beyond the call of duty. Stan was most inspired by the story of Audie Murphy, the World War II hero who led a battalion to victory while wounded and without ammunition. Stan was the expert on him and was often contacted by people around the world to find out more information. He also published a newsletter that told the stories of these military heroes. This coming week, we read the portion from the Torah that lays out the civil law code that will define Israelite society. These laws are meant not just to keep society in order, but to instill a deep layer of morality and ethics. We are told to help a neighbor in need, no matter whether he is your enemy. We're told to provide for the basic needs of every member of the population. That ancient system still teaches us today. We are to lead our lives dedicated to our families, to our community, and to God. As we mourn Stan's passing today, we recognize that he left a similar legacy. His good humor and practical jokes will remind us to enjoy life and live life to the fullest. His total devotion to Barbara and his children and grandchildren will remind us to spend as much time with our families and show that they are the center of our lives. And his commitment to the lives of the war heroes will always remind us to be true to important values and ideals. A life of service is a life well led. Tehini Shmatot Tzura B'Tzura Chaim. May Stan's soul be bound in the bond of eternal life. Amen. Psalm 23. Mizmor LaDavid, Adonai ro'ilo echsar, bin odeshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchot yinahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev yancheni b'magalei tzedek l'ma'an shemo. Gam ki elech begeit sal mavet lo ira ra ki ata imadi, shiftecha mishantecha hema yanachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged sarorai, tishanta v'Hashem en roshi kosir revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yudefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai la'orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We conclude with two prayers. First, the El Male, the memorial prayer. El Male Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tacha Kanfei Ashtina, V'ma'alo Kedoshim Etoharim Kezohar Harakia Masirim, Et Nishmat Shlomo Hershel Ben Moshe V'Goldaleya Shehalach L'Olamo, V'gan Eden Tei Menuchato, Anabala Rachamim, Hastirehu B'Seter Kanafecha L'Olamim, Utzro B'Tzura Chaim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hunachalato, V'yanuach B'Shalom Amishkavo, V'Namar, Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Shlomo Hershel Ben Moshe V'Goldaleya, to the soul of Stan Smith, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful one, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. Amen. And we conclude with Mourner's Kaddish, which is in the book, in case you don't know it by heart. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei, v'amlif malchutei, v'chayachon of yomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei v'kudesha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. He who grants peace in the heavens, may he grant peace to us. Amen. That concludes our service. We say to the family, Amakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Shar V'lei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Very sorry, Barbara.
I thank you. Out of my heart, I thank you for comforting Stacy through this.
I'm just sorry I was never a butt of his practical jokes.
Believe me, there are a few that,
He has a really good one.
You're experiencing one today.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are.
yeah.
Condolences to you. Yeah. My condolences to you.
This is my sister-in-law, Toby Needle.
Yes.
You know that name.
Oh, really? Part of the Needle family?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sorry to Philip. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we got kind of interconnected, knowing each other our whole lives, and
Right.
then end up as sister-in-laws.
So was Irving or Gil?
Irving.
Irving. Irving was your
Your
father.
Yep.
Right. So I never knew Irving, but I
No.
knew Gil. I did know Gil and Connie.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Irving passed away in '67.
right. Was
Yeah.
that shoveling snow or something?
Yes.
That's the story.
That's the story.
Really? How ironic.
No, I really. That's why I remembered it was in February.
You know the family.
I had
Yes.
just talked to him about setting the date for my wedding,
Uh-huh.
like 2 days before the.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, my friend made them.
So, yeah, it's, just kind of interconnected and stayed that way.
Yes, yes, that's right.
So, all
Well,
right,
my
gang.
condolences, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you so
I
much.
will do my absolute best to try to. Well, definitely. I don't know if I. Where are you gonna be? Solution.
We're just gonna be at her apartment. I think only person who's gonna be there is Marty, who's leading it. So I
Is
think,
she gonna be staying?
she's, what was that?
She's at her apartment in Leisure World. And Mindy's, I don't know how long she's staying with her, at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.